As we know, Dune 3's ending won't be too bad, but it's totally fine if Timothée Chalamet doesn't return as Paul for Dune 4. Also, Paul Atreides needs to be properly introduced in Dune 3. With so many questions swirling around about Dune 3, here's what we know about the upcoming movie. So let's dive into those Dune mazes. So far, Dune director Denis Villeneuve has done a great job with Paul Atreides' story, but his plans for Dune 3 suggest that Paul's story might not get a full conclusion, and that's okay. In 2024, Villeneuve released Dune Part 2 to incredible acclaim. The excitement and positive reception prove the franchise is on the right track. When Dune 3 arrives, it will be another massive movie event, but it might not be the ending readers of Frank Herbert's books expect. The Dune movies have mostly stayed true to Herbert's books, but some changes were necessary. For instance, the time span between Dune and Dune Part 2 is only a few months, whereas in the books, it's 3 to 4 years. Also, the characters show subtle but effective differences in the movies compared to the books. These changes can either annoy die-hard fans or enhance the films. Dune 3 is expected to feature significant changes, which might not be a bad thing. Dune Part 3 is confirmed to be in development, with Legendary already working on the script. It's only a matter of time before Warner Brothers gets on board. Villeneuve wants to complete the Dune story as a trilogy, but WB hasn't officially greenlit Dune Part 3 yet. Given the overwhelmingly positive reaction to Part 2, WB will likely approve the movie soon. Details about the third installment are still scarce, but there was an interesting casting update from Rebecca Ferguson. She played Lady Jessica in Parts 1 and 2, and mentioned that she's been kept out of the loop about Part 3. Ferguson also revealed that none of the other actors have signed on yet, and hinted that it would be costly to reunite the entire cast. She said, "I don't know anything. I know zero. I don't even know if he has finished the script. I don't even know if I'm in it. I mean, I hope I'm in it. I've got chains and tattoos. I'm awesome. I didn't even know Anya Taylor-Joy was in Dune Part 2 until I saw the film." You also have to remember that nobody has signed on to the third film. That's a big decision. That's a lot of actors in the same movie rubbing bills together. So I don't know what they're going to do or where they cut corners. There's a lot to think about. Having said that, Dune 3 will be Denis Villeneuve's final Dune movie, but Paul's story goes beyond Dune 3. Before the release of Part 2, Villeneuve told Time that he wanted Dune 3 to be his last Dune movie. This may be the case, but notably, how the Dune books end is different from how Dune 3 would end. There are 6 books in the main Dune series: Dune, Dune Messiah, Children of Dune, God Emperor of Dune, Heretics of Dune, and Chapter House Dune. So far, Villeneuve has adapted the entirety of the first Dune book with his 2 movies, and Dune 3 would likely cover Dune Messiah. Yet Paul's story does not end there. Though Paul Atreides is only the main character of the first 2 Dune books, he does reappear in the third novel, Children of Dune. Taking place approximately 20 years after the events of Dune, Children of Dune sees Paul return as a character called the Preacher. He argues that the religion built around Paul Atreides is false and should no longer be followed. He also appeals to his son Leto not to sacrifice himself for the greater good. However, Paul may not be the anti-hero of Children of Dune, but he does play a significant role as the Preacher. The decision to end Villeneuve's adaptation with Dune 3 might leave some fans longing for more, especially since Paul's journey is so intricately detailed in the subsequent books. However, focusing on Dune Messiah allows Villeneuve to craft a powerful conclusion that stays true to the core of Paul's arc, while acknowledging that the story continues in Herbert's expansive universe. Dune Messiah explores Paul's struggle with the consequences of his rise to power and the religion that has grown around him. It's a darker, more introspective chapter that delves into themes of destiny, sacrifice, and the cost of power. Villeneuve's vision for this part of the story could offer a nuanced and compelling end to his trilogy, even if it leaves room for future adaptations to pick up the narrative thread. In Children of Dune, Paul's transformation into the Preacher and his efforts to dismantle the mythos built around him add layers of complexity to his character. This shift from protagonist to guiding, almost prophetic figure could be fascinating to explore in future projects, potentially under a different director who might continue Villeneuve's legacy. Dune 3 being Timothée Chalamet's final Dune movie wouldn't be surprising. Here's why. Chalamet could potentially stay on as Paul Atreides if another director picked up the Dune movie franchise, but it wouldn't be shocking if the actor left too. Another important detail to glean from Denis Villeneuve's Dune 3 statement is that he specifically wants Dune 3 to be his last movie. Just because Villeneuve is taking a step back does not mean that the Dune movie franchise has to end. Yet it seems likely that the films won't be the same without Villeneuve. In fact, Villeneuve's exit probably forecasts the exit of Dune's other major stars, including Timothée Chalamet. One big reason why Chalamet would follow Villeneuve's Dune exit is because the franchise is somewhat dependent on the director and his vision. Dune has been adapted to the screen before, and there is a certain privilege to being a part of a specific version, especially Villeneuve's, because of its success. Therefore, when a pillar of the franchise leaves, it's not a complete surprise if actors follow the director in exiting rather than risk seeing the film series fall apart. For consistency's sake, Chalamet and the rest of the Dune cast could very well follow Villeneuve's lead. As for why it's okay if Timothée Chalamet doesn't return as Paul for Dune 4, and why Dune 3's ending won't be too bad, fortunately, ending the franchise with Dune 3 isn't a terrible option. Though it's not the technical end of Paul Atreides' story, Dune Messiah ends with Paul walking into the desert as himself, Paul Atreides, and not the savior, Muad'Dib. While it may not be the most firm ending, it does bring Paul's story to something of a close. This is a good thing because it will feel like the book is closing on Villeneuve's franchise and Chalamet's depiction of Paul. Therefore, if someone else picks up the franchise for Dune 4, it won't be strange that the previous cast and crew are absent. Dune 3 could possibly release in December 2026, based on WB's plan for Denis Villeneuve's next movie. Overall, Villeneuve's Dune plan could run pretty smoothly. The director will not be adapting the remainder of the Dune books, but the film franchise could very well still have a sense of completeness. By coinciding the end of the movie with the end of Paul's time as the main character, Villeneuve is setting himself up for success. After Dune 3, audiences will hopefully be satisfied, and the cast and crew can move on to other projects. Timothée Chalamet's departure wouldn't necessarily spell doom for the Dune franchise. The Dune universe is vast, with plenty of rich storylines and characters to explore beyond Paul Atreides. Villeneuve's trilogy can serve as a complete and satisfying arc for Paul, paving the way for other filmmakers to take the reins and explore different aspects of Frank Herbert's intricate world. For instance, Alia Atreides, Paul's sister, has a compelling story that could be expanded upon in future films. Introducing Alia properly in Dune 3 sets the stage for her significant role in the subsequent books. Additionally, the political and religious complexities of the Dune universe offer endless possibilities for storytelling, allowing the franchise to evolve and remain fresh without relying solely on Paul Atreides as the central character. And that's that for today's video. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next one. Your suggestions for future videos are always welcome in the comments below.